Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Mandy. I'm gonna do these Geode coasters pretty quick, and this is kind of a color test for some colors I would like to use on a larger Geode I started. So I'm just kind of playing around. So this color here is River Rock. This is hard to tell. Why is my flash off? Stupid. Hold on. Sorry. Okay, so this is River Rock. This is a purely pigment color from Colourarte. I actually may have it mixed a little too light, but I want it to be a little bit transparent. It has about 3 drops in it. I think I'm gonna add 1 or 2 more. I don't want it to be opaque. That's not the goal. The goal is to, I want it to be rich, but I also want it to be a little transparent. So this is gonna be the main color. And I have figured out with this kind of a style, like less is more, you know, like, see that the color is sitting on the top. I need to stir it better than that. So then what I did with this is, okay, there we go. What I did with this is I put a drop or 2 in some green diamond interference pigment. So the diamonds are just a large particulate. So as you can see, we still have some of that color, but we've got a little bit of a green shift. Still very transparent. And then this is Shooting Star, which is like Milky Way from Colourarte. So, and then I got this from Meyer Imports, where I get my glitter glass. It's basically like some colorful cellophane shards. And this I'm going to put in the middle as opposed to doing like glitter. So I'm going to put this down first because I kind of want this resin to set up a little bit. And I need to, sorry, I have more resin mixed up if I end up needing it. But I kind of need to see if I'm going to need more of this. So I mixed it pretty thick because I'm using Let's Resin, and that's a pretty thin resin. So I want to make sure that this isn't spreading out into my design. Like I kind of want it to look not perfectly circular, you know what I mean? But this actually is probably, oh no, look what I did over here. Crap. When I said I didn't want you to look perfectly circular, I didn't mean come over here and be in over here where the other stuff is supposed to go. Stupid. Okay, it's okay to call things like that stupid, just not people. Okay, so then it's a really pretty like turquoise blue, like a blue green, so that's why I chose this one. I have one that's more of like a blue. That's why I chose this one though, because it would go with this color palette. So I don't really mind if I have some blending with these, but the problem is I'm gonna have to move these in a second. So whatever I do, there's a very good chance that when I move them to the drying table, they're going to get all crazy and wonky. So that's another reason why sometimes when you're doing something geode related, oh my gosh, you don't necessarily want to do too many colors because then you just get like kind of a mess. It's also good if like you don't get this stuff everywhere else, you know what I mean? Now, these are pretty large flakes, so thankfully, oh my gosh, I keep doing it. I just dropped it on the outside. Dumb thingy. So these, I think they'll be kind of cool. So ideally what's on the bottom will be what we end up seeing on the top, right? But what I don't want to do is flood this coaster and have that just float all over the place. But given the fact that I have time constraints, it's certainly possible. So on the outside of this, what I think would make the most sense is to put a little bit of this, what did I say, Shooting Star? But because that way if it moves around, it's not too crazy looking. It is hard to pour this resin without getting it everywhere. But I just don't have a lot of time to wait for it to set up, so this is the Whoosy What's It River Rock. So what I may not have enough of this mixed up, so what I'm doing first is just going around the edge, kind of getting it out there, letting it set up a little bit, and then we'll assess if I'm gonna need more. Okay, that's kind of crazy. Now obviously you won't be able to tell too much about it until we demold it because of the pink silicone, right? But that's okay. All right. I think I mixed up too much resin for these. I was thinking I wouldn't have enough, and now I'm thinking I might have mixed up too much. All right, so there's that. And then I think what I'll do next is kind of go around with this color that has the green diamond, and I think I have too much of this also. And I don't want to crowd that blue too much, so I'm going to kind of come right here. I guess it's not going to hurt anything if it's a little crowded. But again, like I'm kind of trying to let some of this set up a little bit before I overwhelm it, but that may or may not work. For the sake of time, I may not have time to be too picky. But if those colors blend, should be no issue, right? But unfortunately, I think we are going to have way too much resin left over, and I don't really have time to bring out my big geode and lay some color down with the leftover resin, so all right. But that is bleeding into one another, which is okay. So now I'm kind of curious if I should go ahead and hit the center with this, you know what I mean? Like go around here. We'll never know till we try. Uh-oh, I didn't really want that there. Oh well. We're also going to have very little control over how that does, because, you know, unless it's perfectly level under there, it's going to travel, it's going to do what it wants to do. I was going to add some of that white in, but you can see we're already starting to connect, so I don't even know if that white's going to make it. And I have a feeling this river rock is going to creep in to my cellophane stuff, or whatever this is. Some of this is a little high up. I don't mind if it creeps, as long as it doesn't totally take over. I guess if it takes over, it's not the end of the world, right? Now what I can't decide is, do I want to go ahead and get some of this white in here? Well, it's not really white, but you know what I mean. I think we're going to try to put it in there for funsies and just, you know, push some of that stuff out of the way. It's not going to be perfect looking. I don't think perfect is the goal. I don't know why this is so lopsided over here. Okay, definitely Oh, sorry, I'm concentrating. And it's also difficult because you don't know what the underside is going to look like. You know, like where I'm pushing it. Oh, I almost forgot this part. So I obviously mixed up too much resin, so lesson learned. So now I think we're going to come back with this over here and just come, and if it's sparklier on one part than the other, that's fine. And what will probably happen is the things with the particulates will sink down more because of the weight of the heavier particulate. So everything I'm doing to move it around and separate it now, it's probably not going to work. So if I were to do this again, let's learn together, right? If I were to do this again, I would probably just do 3 layers. I would do the shooting star around the edge of the cellophane stuff. I would do the darker outside and just basically go dark to light. So that's what I would do if I was going to do it again. Now what's done is done. It's in here now. I still have some of this left, and so I'm going to come back over that layer because what I can do with my leftover resin is I can go ahead and put some of this color down on my big geode. And some of this is going to have some more clear on the back. So what I actually might do is, instead of using up this clear for something else, is I might just come in and put clear on top of this. But my fear if I do that, oh, I didn't really mean to do that. My fear if I do that is that it would be too, it would kind of water down what's already in here. So I guess the other option I have, because I need to cover up some more of the cellophane, is to come in, just do this right behind it. Because, and then that kind of pushes things out. So that might be working out. Okay. And it should be thick enough, I'm thinking, down there. Oh, I think I'm wrong, actually. You see what's happening? It's pushing out that cellophane into my design. I may have just ruined this, just trying to make sure it had enough clear on it. Unfortunately, and because resin self-levels, it's trying to kind of travel. So, you know, these may be a bad trial. That's okay. It's been a while since I've done them. I've been wanting to do a new batch for a while. I've been wanting to play around with this stuff. So, you know, if it spreads out, it spreads out. It should still be pretty. It just won't look very geode-y. Unfortunately, this is like a lump. I need it to lay down a little bit. Okay. Now, what I'm gonna do, see, this is the difficult part of using molds. To do geode stuff where you want more distinctive layers and whatnot, ideally you want thick resin, not a thin one. But all I'm doing is making more of that river rock color to fill up the mold. So you want a thicker resin, not a thin one. But in your molds, you don't really want a thick resin because it has bubbles. and they don't pop as well without a torch. And you don't want to torch your molds, right? So that's just one of the challenges. So all I'm doing here is realizing we don't quite have enough resin. I mean, this is gonna look pretty cool, I think, even if it doesn't look like I intended for it to look. So I'm gonna go around here and basically just add more resin, because we do need more resin to fill this mold up. And that may be a dumb move because it may be overwhelming our design with the river rock color, but we'll find out together, you know what I mean? And I'm very focused. I don't know if I told you I'm using Let's Resin. I think I told you that. Ooh, okay. Don't forget to check the description box. There's lots of good discounts and stuff in there for y'all. I am really tempted to just come in and fill. And the reason why I want to fill them is I may actually use these to make some more geode molds, like the finished product, so that I can crank them out a little faster, like when I have ideas. Sometimes if you're going to bother mixing up resin and stuff, it's just good to just do a lot at the same time, you know? So I still have quite a bit of resin. I think what I'll do is just kind of come in here, add some to each. And that actually may even give us some cool effects, adding some clear in there. Because the clear is going to force things to move around that maybe we didn't layer that way. So notice I'm starting in the darker layer because if it moves things around, I don't really want it to be as noticeable. But it did move because I can see down to the clear parts and some of this other stuff right here. I can see the coaster mold is what I'm trying to say. You ever just have moments where your brain is just like, see you later, you know? That's what's happening with me. So then now, it may be the dumbest thing ever, but I'm gonna drizzle a little in the middle. Again, that might be the dumbest thing because it might push those cellophane pieces out. But I'm trying to make sure we have this filled up to a point. So I'm trying to strategically put it in so if it starts to move out, it should be kind of okay. And again, if it moves the cellophane, it's not the end of the world. So with the very last little bit of resin that I have left, what I'm gonna do is actually mix up a little bit more of that. Actually, I'm just gonna put it into my cup where I had that shooting star. So if it does push through and pushes things around, it's not just going to push it in as perfectly clear. And then we're just going to use up our resin. And I have some small bubbles, nothing crazy. So what I'll do for that is I will gently spritz with some alcohol. Most mold makers would tell you not to do that. So not telling you it's safe to do, but I'm certainly not going to torch them. I thought that people were being dramatic about that, and I torched one of these molds when I first got them and it ruined it. And so I had to buy a replacement. What happened is it caused the resin to stick to the silicone as it cured. It was very sad. Okay, so there's a couple places where we kind of went into the oh, I think I shouldn't have done that. That's gonna look weird. Let me but just a little. That should clean up in a second. Yikes, just making a colossal mess. When I spray with alcohol to pop some bubbles, that should actually cause that to interact a little bit and it should be all right. But just in case, I'm gonna say, just kidding, I didn't really want you to do that. There. Thankfully, resin does what it wants, but it is relatively forgiving. So, you know, something this pretty and sparkly will look pretty even if we don't get the outcome that we were hoping for. So I will share with you what they look like unmolded, and I may or may, if depending on how pretty they turn out, I may or may not outline them with metallic pens. I'm on the fence. I don't want to mess with that too much, but I'm pretty sure that all of my little pocket of cellophane is just pretty much everywhere now, so bummer. Okay, so this is them unmolded. I kind of told you I thought this would happen. They're not bad, but they're just sort of messy now. I could go in and add really fine silver lines and make it look more geode-like. Or I could just, you know, clean them up and sell them the way they are. The other thought I had was to sand this down, resin top coat this, and leave this as the top. I don't know, I'm torn. I really like the sparkly side, but I kind of like the simplicity here. I have a gold pen coming because mine dried out, so I don't know, let me know what you think. Should I just leave them as is and have another go? But look at this color. If my phone will stop autofocusing, it will not. You can't tell how beautiful it is. It is so beautifully, it looks more blue here. It's really gorgeous. Anyway, I'm torn about these. It could be fun to just add some lines to them and see. I mean, they're already not perfect. If I added lines to them and I didn't like them, then I could just use the bottom. This definitely spread out quite a bit, but there's something so beautiful about the simplicity of this side. You know, part of me feels like I'm gonna, I don't know, what would you do if it was you? Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.